Yo, what is up, fam? It's your boy Legend, and I am back with another video. For some reason, everyone's favorite. I don't know why, but it just seems to be that way. What if Naruto was born early and fell in love with Kushina and Mikoto? Now, if you guys enjoy the videos and you want more of these videos, make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe while you're at it. The like goal for the video was going to be 7 likes, but as usual, if we can get more, that would be nice. But without further ado, let's just get into this intro so we can start this what if. Naruto opened his eyes in the early morning as he lay on a soft mattress. His hand and fingers were interlaced with Kushina's, and their legs were tangled together from their intense and long overdue night of passion the previous day. Naruto looked down at Kushina, who was asleep on his shoulder, as he smiled, feeling butterflies in his stomach, before he looked away and sighed. "What's the matter? Is everything alright?" Naruto jumped slightly at the sound of her voice and looked at Kushina again. She had her eyes open and was looking at Naruto. Naruto turned away and let out a breath. Naruto stopped for a second so he could get his words straight and spoke again. "Yesterday, when you came to get me in the forest, the previous day, I had sex with Mikoto, and I'm 80% sure she wants a relationship, but I don't know what to do. If I pick one of you, I'll hurt the other." Naruto felt Kushina's hand tighten around his as she let out a small grunt of dissatisfaction. Before Naruto could say more, she spoke. "I'm still keeping you for the rest of the day." Naruto blinked. The way she said it, it was like he was some kind of pet or something. He didn't mind, however. Kushina was his crush. However, he also had a crush on Mikoto. Naruto then let out a sigh. Could he even say he had a crush on them anymore? He had already had sex with both of them, and he was sure that at least one of them wanted some type of long-term relationship. Naruto's mind was still spinning, tangled in threads of doubt and conflicting emotions. He sat there with Kushina nestled against him, her warmth seeping into his skin, yet doing nothing to calm the storm that brewed inside. He had been thinking too much about Mikoto, about Kushina, about the strange position fate had pushed him into. He almost wished someone would give him an answer, something simple, clean, and decisive, but nothing about this was simple. His thoughts were suddenly interrupted when Kushina's soft voice broke the silence. "I meant what I said yesterday." Naruto blinked, glancing down at her. Her head was resting on his shoulder, her crimson hair cascading like a curtain against his chest. For a moment, he wondered if he'd misheard her. "What?" he asked, voice low and uncertain. Kushina buried her face deeper into his shoulder, as if hiding from the weight of her confession. Yet, her tone was steady and unshaken. "Yesterday, when I said that I love you, I meant what I said. It wasn't just some tactic I was using to try and get you to stay. It was something that came from the heart." Naruto froze, his breath caught in his throat. The words seemed to echo in the room, bouncing around the walls until they lodged deep in his chest. His face burned crimson, blooming across his cheeks, and he had no idea what to say. He wasn't used to being on the receiving end of something so raw and honest. Kushina must have sensed his hesitation because she tightened her hold on him, sliding her arms around his waist and pulling him closer. Her embrace was firm, yet gentle, as if she feared he might vanish if she'd let go. Naruto swallowed hard and finally forced words out, though his voice was rough and unsure. So, what does this mean? Between us, I mean. Kushina let out a huff, her warm breath brushing against his neck. If it were up to me, she said, her voice quieter now, more vulnerable. You and I would be in a relationship, and you would be mine exclusively. But it's not up to me. And I know you. You don't like hurting people you care about. So, she shifted slightly, just enough to look up at him with those dark purple eyes that seemed to pierce straight through him. It means I've told you how I feel about you, and now I have to wait for your decision. And I hope you know that while I'm with you, I'm not hiding how I feel. Her words pressed down on him, heavy yet heartfelt. Naruto took a deep breath, the sound shaky as it escaped his lips. The room suddenly felt smaller than it was, the air thicker, almost suffocating. Kushina's confession hung between them like a blade, sharp, impossible to ignore. Naruto wished desperately that there was a simple choice, that he could pick one without hurting the other, without tearing apart bonds that had been carefully stitched together over time. But there was no such path. If he chose Kushina, Mikoto would be left in sorrow, her heart wounded, and Kushina herself might feel guilt for taking what Mikoto also desired. And if he chose Mikoto, the same pain would ripple the other way. Kushina's smile would dim, her laughter would fade, and Mikoto might carry the guilt of knowing she had taken away her closest friend's chance. He didn't even know how he had stumbled into this love triangle. One moment, he was navigating the chaos of his own life, and the next, he was entangled in the emotions of two incredible women, both strong, both kind, both capable of shaking him to his core. Fate had a cruel sense of humor. Lost in his thoughts again, Naruto nearly missed Kushina stirring against him. She sat up slowly, strands of crimson hair falling around her face. There was a playful determination in her expression now, though the vulnerability from earlier still lingered in her eyes. Naruto-kun, she said softly, but with purpose. Let's go out and do something. Naruto looked at her, caught off guard. His gaze was pulled into her eyes, dark purple, glimmering with an odd mix of gentleness and fire. They were eyes that could be soft enough to cradle him in comfort, yet fierce enough to strike fear into anyone who dared stand against her. He felt his chest tighten as he stared too long, lost in their depths. Okay, he managed, his voice cracking slightly from nerves. Kushina's lips curled into the faintest smile, one that was neither teasing nor mocking, but simply real. She hopped lightly off the bed, tugging at his hand as if to drag him with her. Naruto allowed himself to be pulled, his mind still scrambling, his heart thundering in his chest. As they stepped out, Naruto couldn't help but think how surreal it all felt. Just hours ago, he had been lying awake, overthinking, drowning in uncertainty. And now, here he was, hand in hand with Kushina, her confession still ringing in his ears. He wasn't sure where this path would lead, but one thing was certain. Nothing would be the same from this point on. Kushina didn't take him far. just out into the village streets, where the late morning sun bathed everything in soft golden glows. Merchants were beginning to open their stalls. Children ran through the streets, with laughter trailing behind them, and the smell of fresh baked bread drifted from a nearby bakery. It was so normal, so peaceful. And yet, for Naruto, the world felt completely different. Every sound, every sight was colored by the weight of what had been said between them. Kushina glanced at him as they walked, her hand still loosely gripping his. She seemed content, almost carefree, as if simply being beside him was enough. But Naruto could see the truth beneath her calm exterior. Her shoulders were tense, her grip a little firmer than usual, her eyes occasionally flicking to him, as though searching for some sign of his answer. She'd been honest with him, brutally honest, and now she was waiting for him to give her clarity, even if she knew it might hurt. Naruto's heart ached. He wanted to say something, anything, to ease the tension, but every word that came to mind felt inadequate. So he remained silent, walking beside her, trying to steady himself. And yet, despite everything, there was something undeniably comforting about her presence. The way her hair shimmered under the sun, the way her laughter bubbled when a child tripped and got back up without crying. The way she carried herself with both strength and tenderness. It all made his chest tighten in ways he couldn't put into words. For the briefest of moments, Naruto allowed himself to wonder, what if he did choose her? What if he allowed himself to lean into her warmth, to give her the answer she wanted? Would he find peace in that choice, or would guilt consume him, knowing Mikoto's heart would break in the process? His hand tightened slightly around hers without him realizing it. Kushina noticed, her gaze flicking to him, but she said nothing. Instead, she simply smiled faintly and squeezed back. And just like that, Naruto realized something terrifying. No matter what choice he made, someone he loved would end up hurt. And he wasn't sure he had the strength to carry that burden. The two of them then walked into the small bakery that was still in the process of opening. And when the two walked in, Naruto froze for a second, his hand reflexively squeezing Kushina's. Naruto froze because Mikoto was also in the bakery, purchasing bread. She then turned and walked toward them to leave, and she saw them. Mikoto noticed that the two of them were holding hands, and she started to walk slower. Before she came to a stop in front of them, she was looking at their hands, and the sight hurt her. It made Naruto and Kushina so uncomfortable that they released each other's hands as Mikoto looked back up at them and spoke. So, I guess you two are... Mikoto swallowed hard, not wanting to say the words. It felt as though her throat were constricting on itself as she finally spoke again. Boyfriend and girlfriend now, huh? To Naruto's surprise, Kushina spoke for him. No, we aren't. But he does know that I love him. I've already confessed my feelings to him, so I'm waiting for his answer. I'm just not hiding my emotions. This made Mikoto feel better. It meant that she still had a chance, but she still needed to break off the engagement she was in. Then it hit her. What if Naruto thought she was just using him to break off her arranged marriage? She had to make things clear with him. She grabbed Naruto's hand and began to walk to the exit, but Kushina grabbed Naruto's other hand and pulled as she looked at Mikoto. What do you think you're doing? Mikoto sighed and looked at Kushina. Look, can I talk to Naruto just for a second? It's important to me and about our clan. Kushina gritted her teeth and started to grind them together as she let go of Naruto. Fine. Mikoto and Naruto left and stood by the door as she turned to face him. She wanted to tell him that she wasn't using him, that their night of passion meant something to her, but instead the first thing out of her mouth was, "Did you fuck her?" She asked the question with a slight frown, and for a second Mikoto didn't even know if she had really asked the question or if she was hearing things until she heard Naruto's answer. Yes. I had sex with her. It happened yesterday evening. Mikoto took a deep breath. She wanted to go deeper into this topic, but she came out here for a reason. Well, look, Naruto. I just want you to know that when you took my virginity, it meant the world to me. I wasn't using you to try and break my engagement, though it may have helped with that. But it did mean something to me. It was real to me. Naruto blinked. I didn't think you were using me. Actually, that never crossed my mind. Mikoto sighed. Good. Also, I gave you my first time for a reason. That reason is that I want to be with you. And it may sound crazy, but I want to be with you forever. I love you, and I'm scared of losing you. I don't want to lose you to anyone, even Kushina. But I can't make that choice for you. It's your choice to make. And no matter what choice you choose, I'll respect it, no matter how much it hurts. Mikoto then turned and walked away, heading back to her clan compound. Naruto walked back into the store and met up with Kushina. When Kushina finished paying for the bread that she needed, she went back to Naruto, and the both of them went back to her house. Meanwhile, with Mikoto in the Uchiha compound, Mikoto moved around what was supposed to be her and Fugaku's marital home one last time. The place that she had been living in for the past 6 months. The place she was supposed to memorize like the back of her hand, just so she could be fully subservient to Fugaku when the two of them finally wed and he moved in. Then Mikoto left. Mikoto's footsteps echoed softly against the stone path as she approached her father's residence within the Uchiha compound. Though it wasn't far from the house that had been prepared for her and Fugaku, it felt like crossing a world away. Her chest was tight, her palms clammy, but her resolve was iron. She refused to continue down the path others had laid for her. When she slid the door open and stepped inside, her father, Kagami Uchiha, was already seated in the main room, a scroll in hand. He looked up, his expression first neutral, then shifting into faint surprise. Mikoto. His brow lifted slightly. What are you doing here? Shouldn't you be at your own home, preparing? Fugaku is expecting. I don't care what Fugaku is expecting, Mikoto interrupted sharply. Her father set the scroll aside, leaning back slightly, his sharp eyes narrowing in quiet appraisal. You don't care. Mikoto inhaled deeply, her hands trembling before she clasped them together tightly. Father, I don't want to marry him. At first, I told myself I could endure him. For the clan. For appearances. I thought I could tolerate his arrogance, his narrow, twisted views of women. But as time went on, the more I saw of him, the more I realized. She raised her chin, her voice steady now. I cannot and will not marry Fugaku Uchiha. Kagamai's face remained calm, but his silence stretched long enough that Mikoto felt her heart hammering in her throat. When he finally spoke, it was measured, deliberate. I see. I can't say I am surprised. You were never fond of him, though you pretended well enough. I knew you were willing to sacrifice for the clan. So, tell me, daughter, what changed? What made you decide now, of all times, to draw a line? Mikoto lowered herself onto the cushion across from him. For a moment, she hesitated, biting her lip. But then, the truth spilled forth. There's someone else. Someone who isn't like Fugaku at all. He doesn't see women as breeding tools or stepping stones to power. He sees them as equals, as partners. And yet, she paused, her voice softening, her cheeks tinged faintly pink. He's more of a man than Fugaku will ever be. Kagamai raised an eyebrow. Amusement flickered briefly in his eyes, though he quickly suppressed it. Mikoto, liking another man isn't enough to dissolve this engagement. Not one of this magnitude. Fugaku won't let it end so easily. You know how hungry he is for the clan head position, and you are the key to it. Marrying you secures his claim. At that, something inside Mikoto snapped. Her eyes burned crimson as her Sharingan flared to life, morphing into an intricate black and red flower pattern. She rose to her feet abruptly, her voice sharp and furious. Well, he's not fucking getting it! Her fist clenched, her entire frame trembling with rage. Do you see? This is exactly what I mean. He doesn't want me for me. He wants me for what I represent. I'm just a tool to him, a stepping stone to the clan head seat. Kagamai looked at her calmly, though his gaze lingered on the rare pattern of her Mangekyo Sharingan. His voice was stern, but not unkind. Calm yourself, Mikoto. Anger will not solve this. And if you continue to let your Mangekyo flare so recklessly, you'll lose your sight before long. Her breathing slowed reluctantly. She deactivated her eyes, slumping back down onto the cushion. A heavy silence passed before Kagamai spoke again, more softly this time. Who is this man who has caught your interest? At once, Mikoto's expression softened. A faint, unguarded smile tugged at her lips, and color crept across her cheeks. It's Naruto. Uzumaki Naruto. We've been getting closer over the past 4 or 5 months, and she trailed off, covering her face with her hands in embarrassment before finally blurting out. And I gave him my virginity 3 days ago. And I took his too. Kagamai blinked, silent. His sharp gaze lingered on her, taking in her flushed expression, the way her fingers twitched as she tried to hide her face. He had seen his daughter feign affection before. This wasn't that. She meant every word. She wasn't just smitten. She was in love. He leaned back with a faint exhale. So, the boy I nearly made an enemy of. If Hiruzen hadn't told me to stand down, I might have. And now, he's yours. Mikoto peeked through her fingers, startled. Father? A small, almost approving smile tugged at his lips. Well, that settles it then. Fugaku cannot marry you now. I'll handle the fallout of breaking the engagement. You, on the other hand, should speak to this Naruto. Make certain you both understand what comes next. Mikoto lowered her hands, relief flooding her expression, though a flicker of nervousness still lingered. There's one more thing. Kagami arched an eyebrow. Oh? Mikoto hesitated before admitting. Kushina, she also has feelings for Naruto. She told him as much. For the first time that day, a genuine laughter burst from Kagami. It was short, dry, but undeniably amused. And your point? Mikoto blinked, startled by his reaction. What do you mean, and? That means nothing, Kagami interrupted firmly. His tone was matter-of-fact. The voice of a clan head who had weighed countless decisions before. He is the last male of the Uzumaki bloodline. When the council places him under the Clan Restoration Act, he will be permitted, no, expected to take multiple wives. That law exists for precisely this reason. With Kushina being the last female Uzumaki, the council would have pushed her toward him regardless. Better that she desires him naturally. Mikoto frowned, tilting her head slightly. Clan Restoration Act? Kagami nodded, recognizing the confusion in her tone. It's a law invoking for dwindling clans. When only a few bloodline heirs remain, the council orders the survivors to take multiple spouses to restore the clan's numbers. In Naruto's case, as the sole male Uzumaki, he will be pressured to marry several women. With Kushina's bloodline, she would be pushed into him as well, whether she wished to or not. Mikoto sat in stunned silence. The words carried weight she hadn't anticipated. Naruto, the boy who had made her heart race, who had made her feel cherished and equal, was going to be thrust into a role that bound him to more than one woman, whether he wanted it or not. Still, her father's voice broke through her thoughts, firm but reassuring. So don't trouble yourself over Kushina. If both of you love him, then it's not a matter of competition, but of whether the boy is strong enough to shoulder it. That, daughter, is for him to decide. Mikoto nodded slowly, determination reigniting in her gaze. Whatever happened, she knew one thing for certain. She wasn't giving up on Naruto, not for Fugaku, not for the clan, and not for Kushina. But guys, I'm going to end it off right here. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe while you at it. But without further ado, I am out, and I will see you guys in the next video. Stay blessed, fam.